Hi there, MP Garner Genis, broadcasting from the foyer of the House of Commons. I want to share an update with you on an initiative that we tried to bring forward today dealing with human rights in Sri Lanka. I tried to move a motion seeking unanimous consent of the House of Commons for this motion, that the House calls on the Government of Canada to strongly push for the full implementation of Human Rights Resolution 30/1 within a clearly specified time frame, calls on the Government of Sri Lanka to fully implement Resolution 30/1 within a clearly specified time frame, recognizing that the resolution was co-sponsored by the Government of Sri Lanka, and invites the Minister of International Development to table a report in the House at her earliest convenience explaining development projects funded in Sri Lanka and their impact on the implementation of Resolution 30/1 and on peace and reconciliation in general. So essentially, we wanted to put forward a motion, get the support of the entire House of Commons on something that should not be a controversial partisan issue, which is calling for the advancement of resolutions dealing with human rights, calling for full reconciliation and justice coming out of the conflict in Sri Lanka, which ended about 10 years ago. So this is what we were trying to do today. And on Friday, I had announced my intention to put this resolution forward, and I had sent emails to members of all parties. I consulted with independents as well as the Bloc, the NDP, and the Liberals. And I had some questions back from the NDP. We had confirmed support from some, but total radio silence from the government. No indication. We knew that they had heard our messages, and members of the Tamil community were speaking to the government about this issue, encouraging them to support the resolution. But up until this point, we had heard nothing back from the government about it. Then after question period, before I moved the motion, a Liberal member comes and puts forward for unanimous consent a very similar motion, but he left out the section about the Minister of International Development. So it was clear, I guess, that the government didn't want to have that accountability mechanism of having to put a report forward in the House about what kinds of projects were being funded on the ground and their impact on peace and reconciliation. So the government put forward a motion which is transparently taking significant chunks, but not all of the motion that I had planned to put forward. Fine, fair enough. We were happy to support at that point. So they put forward their motion, we supported it, but somebody somewhere else in the House of Commons said no. So that motion did not pass by unanimous consent. Then I stood up, noted that I had supported that motion, read out my motion, and then the government, a member of the government certainly, and maybe other members of government, I noticed a member from Winnipeg North, a key person for the Liberals, saying no, therefore preventing this motion from passing. So, some of this is just parties, especially the Liberals, being silly and partisan when we could be able to move something forward. We supported both of those motions. Doesn't matter the source, right? This was something that we had started the process on last week, but if the government wanted to put forward their motion to try and take some of the credit for it, look, it doesn't matter. The main thing is, are we getting a resolution passed? But in spite of our support for that and then proposing this, we were not able to get either of these forward. And if the government members had come back to me and communicated before putting forward their own motion to say, let's work together around some of the wording, we could have had that conversation. So it's been frustrating because this is something that actually matters to real people on the ground. It has consequences for human rights and for Canada's engagement with the advancement of human rights in Sri Lanka to address long-standing unresolved issues in terms of that situation. But despite my efforts on this, we weren't able to get a resolution passed in the House of Commons. The Liberals said no to my resolution. They tried to propose their own beforehand to try and take some of the credit, which had some but not all elements of it. Ours, we still supported theirs. They didn't even talk to us in advance, though, about whether or not they were going to support or look for certain changes to our resolution. So, unfortunately, just partisan silliness holds us back and really frustrating from the government. So I'd encourage those who are following this video who are concerned about the human rights situation in Sri Lanka to send a note to your MP wherever they are. Encourage them to work across party lines on this issue, not to try and scoop somebody else by jumping the gun and putting forward a motion first, but instead work collaboratively to try and get this done. At the end of the day, no motion got passed here, which is, I think, quite disappointing. So keep lobbying, keep contacting your MP. I'm going to keep looking for ways to move this forward as well. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day.
குருதிக்கோடை முகாம் இடம்பெற்றுள்ளது. இக்குருதிக்கோடை முகாமானது இன்று காலை 9 மணி அளவில் இடம்பெற்றுள்ளது. கிளையின் முகாமையாளர்